going to talk about the movement of from traditional grammar to the systemic functional grammar. Okay, so if I simplify the concept, traditional grammar is about the rules, and in other words, you do not have a choice in traditional grammar, because by grammar we usually mean the rules of the language, and that happens to be the first thing which is taught when when language is being taught to the students. Okay, and here I'm talking about learning of the language. Okay, teaching and learning of the language. We're not talking about the acquisition of the language right now. So there is a movement from traditional grammar to the functional grammar. Now, why do we need to study traditional grammar? In the last lecture, I told you that we talk about the functions of language in systemic functional linguistics, and Halliday believes that language is a tool, it functions, and the functioning of the language is more important than following the rules. But having said that, he never meant that, we pay less attention to the traditional grammar or to the rules of the language for that matter, right? Um, Actually, in other words, systemic functional grammar is derived from traditional grammar, right? And when we say that, it traditional grammar does not lose its importance because now we are studying the functional grammar, or now that we know that function of the language is more important. This is because, in order to study systemic functional grammar, you need to look back at traditional grammar also. And today we are going to have a little recap of the very basics of grammar. For the reason that in the initial class I told you that systemic functional linguistics is a method of analysis, right? So the analysis that we conduct under uh, SFL is actually based on traditional grammar, right? You need to know the rank structure of the language. For instance, when we talk about the rank structure, we start from morphemes to words to phrases to clauses, and the highest level is the sentence. Okay, so we need to know the rank structure also, and all of this is related to grammar, because grammar tells us what are morphemes. It tells us, semantics, the words and their meanings, then the phrases, and then the clauses, and then the sentences. Okay, so the crux of whatever I have said till now is it is important that you know grammar before we start with systemic functional grammar. Okay, um, we'll come to that also. Why do we call it systemic functional grammar? But before that, what is traditional grammar? Why was it important? Now, uh,
Ma'am?
if you have attended, yes, am I audible?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am, you're audible. Ma'am, Miss Farah का message आया है कि please let her in the class. She's waiting in the lobby.
I mean, there is no lobby. It's an open access. I have put the settings like that.
Okay, I'll let her know. She texted me, so I'll let her know it's not
You
open
know,
access.
no, just say, just you know that you all have access to it without waiting in the lobby. People are directly joining in.
I don't know
Okay,
why she told me that. Okay, ma'am, I'll let her know.
okay. So so where were we? Okay. So I was talking about the traditional grammar. Now, initially, those of you who have attended applied linguistics, the course of applied linguistics, have learned about the teaching methods, right? So there also we see the movement from uh, grammar translation method, which is based on traditional grammar, and then to communicative approach, and then to more modern methods right now. So the first method or the initial method historically is also traditional grammar. Now that has been derived from when people used to talk about Greek and Latin as the language of education or as a language of scholarship, right? So in the past centuries, the focus was on grammar, and this is all about, uh, when we talk about traditional grammar, we are talking about those teaching methods also, and when the emphasis was on chunk taking chunks of language to teach the actual language, right? And I've already given you examples. So that was the conventional kind of language teaching and learning. And now there is a revolution in teaching of grammar also. Okay, so it was all rule based. Now that day also I talked about uh, syntagmatic and paradigmatic options. Okay, paradigmatic is basically when you have choices. And in systemic functional grammar, we believe that we have choices. Whatever we are saying, we say it by choice. It's just not about choosing the vocabulary while you are using the language. It's also about choosing the structures when you use the language. Okay, so it is all a matter of choice and less a matter of exact and correct grammar. Okay, you take care of the correctness of your sentences as well, but your main focus is to communicate what you want to. Okay, if you want to be sarcastic about something or someone, you just not choose the vocabulary for the purpose, but you also choose the structures. Okay, you can be expressing your sadness, or if you're happy, or whatever your feelings are. It's a matter of choice, right? That is why, we call systemic functional grammar as a choice system. Okay, where people make choices from a system. Now this word systemic comes from the system. Language is a system. Okay, for Halliday, language is a system, and you keep on making choices from that system. Okay, you don't go out of the system, but remaining within every language is a system. Okay, so with remaining within a system, you make choices, and this is why it is called a systemic functional grammar, right? So uh, this is the movement, traditional grammar to systemic functional grammar. But by moving there, we cannot say that we don't move back. Systemic functional grammar is a method of analysis also, where you have to take care, you have to consider grammar as well. Okay. So other than that, um, there are some functions of language. These are called as meta functions. Now, Halliday has given us just three functions as meta functions. By that, it means that we have more functions which are sub functions of these meta functions. Okay, so the three functions are: we use it to express and connect ideas, right? So this is the ideational function. We use it to interact with others. Okay, so this is another function of interpersonal function, right? We have already named these functions. Today we are going to talk about these in a bit more detail. Okay, uh, these are not the only functions I'm repeating, but these are the three basic functions which are called as the meta functions. And under these meta functions, there are several other functions, okay, that we are going to talk about. So first of all, we use it to express and connect ideas. That is your the first function of the language. Okay, and then you have interpersonal. First is ideational. The second one is interpersonal, which where we use it to interact with others, and the last one is textual function. which is a combination of both, in which you try to present your ideas coherently. Okay. Um, right. We are also going to talk about field, tenor, and mode also. Okay. So these are called as the meta functions. Now, what other things are important here is, you know, this theory of grammar also, where uh, the kids, how kids develop their language, but this is more about the acquisition and not about the learning. Okay. So now this is important. How do we analyze what rank of language is most important for the analysis of language? We are going to talk about that also. Now, my first question in today's class is, I've told you the rank structures in a language. Um, the minimal is morpheme. Okay. Then comes the words. Combination of morphemes form words. Combination of words form phrases. Combination of phrases form clauses. Combination of clauses form sentences. Okay. Now my question is, um, what is the most important rank which gives us a lot of information or the most information? And that happens to be our level of analysis, which might be that. Who's telling me? Those who have attended statistics key classes, they might know this. I expect Minal to answer this. Anyone can answer, but Minal would be Minal. I think she has attended my classes of statistics. Yes, Minal. What is the best
Clause is the important thing that we analyze in a
Yes.
sentence.
Haha,
We
why?
divide the
Why is that?
sentence. Ma'am, first we divide the sentence into clauses. Ma'am,
Haha.
because it is the primary grammatical unit of a sentence.
What
We divide.
information? What information does it give you?
Ma'am, it tells about the verb of a sentence. The verb who is doing the action.
Okay.
It,
Now we take clause as a unit of analysis for multiple reasons. Okay. Clause gives us the most information amongst all levels. Like morpheme doesn't give you information. Word doesn't give you information more than just its meaning. Okay. Phrase is not complete in itself much of the time. Sentence is complete, but clause is more important because clause lies in between the sentence and the phrase. Okay, it has the phrase and it forms the sentence as well, right? Sentence can have many clauses, but a clause tells you about the polarity of the sentence or the clause. It tells you whether it's an active voice or a passive voice. Um, it tells you about the time and aspects also. Um, Anyone who can tell me what's the difference between tense and aspect? Yes, Farah, you're a grammar teacher. Tense and aspect. Guys, if you're not going to be attentive in my class, I'm going to ask you to open your cameras, okay? In whatever form and shape you are sitting at your homes. I'll ask you to open your cameras. People are not there in the class. Yes, Fatma, what's the difference between tense and aspect?
Miss, from my understanding, I think the tense tell us uh, when something happens, like present, past, or future, where aspects shows whether that action is going, finished, or unfinished. That's all I think of
Yeah,
the
you
difference.
are, yeah, you are very close. Now, what happens is English language, I don't know if this is a newer information or this is an old information for you, but English language has just two tenses. One is the present
What?
tense and the other is the past tense. Okay. The rest of the tenses are not tenses, they are basically aspects because you need to add auxiliary. When you are forming the progressive or the what do you call continuous tense, you need auxiliary ing. Okay. For a future, you need will. That's an auxiliary. Um, huh. And I'm in that also in progressive also. It's not about just ing, but you either use is, was, were. So you need an auxiliary for the progressive ones also. For the perfect ones, you need another auxiliary has, had, have. So English language basically has only two tenses. Remember that, okay? The rest of those are not tenses. That takes auxiliary. That are aspects. Now, what is the difference between tense and aspect? Tense tells you time, whereas aspect tells you the stage of completion of a verb or the action, whether the action has been completed or the action is in progress or the action was in progress. Okay, we have past continuous tense also, right? Or the action will be done in the future, right? So this is the difference. Basically, aspect tells you the stage of doing, whereas tense tells you the time of doing. Okay, so remember this difference. This will help you. Now, my next question is, um, you know, all of us know about basis of grammar are the parts of speech. Okay. We have nouns and we have pronouns, we have verbs and we have kinds of verbs, we have adjectives, adverbs, conjunctions, interjections, so on and so forth, right? Now, my question is, if there is a word other than, the proper nouns, if there are words, do they have are those words restricted to act only as adjectives, or sometimes the adjectives can act as nouns and adjectives and nouns as adverbs also? Can it happen, or the words are fixed as far as their distribution in terms of their part of speech is concerned? I hope you're getting my question. My question is there any restriction for a vocabulary word or a dictionary word that if it's a noun, it remains a noun all the time, wherever it occurs within a sentence? Or its role can change. A noun can act as an adjective and sometimes as an adverb also. So, what is your take on this?
मैम
Yes,
आई
ma'am,
गेस
they can be. Participle and gerunds में होता है हमारे पास कि verb हमारे noun की position पर आ जाते हैं according to their functions and work. They
Mm-hmm.
can work as an adjective as well.
Yes,
Like
you're right. Or
broken leg, huh? It's just past participle, but it's working over here as an adjective. And coming
yeah,
late,
that's a
and
good
here
example.
coming is an ing form or working as a gerund.
Yes, you're right. So, see, function is more important, not the part of speech. Okay. So, noun can serve as an adjective where it functions as an adjective, where it, clarifies or modifies a noun. So, it becomes an adjective. And similar is the case with many of the parts of speech. Okay. Gerund is another example. So, what we understand with this example is that function is more important. Okay. Then the position of the word is more important then it's grammatical education. Okay, so as I told you, while we were learning grammar in our schools through the old methods, it was just not that teachers used to have the chunks of language. They would ask us to uh, convert those 10 sentences out of context into indirect, direct, indirect, active, passive. They would give us a list of words to learn as nouns and verbs and adjectives and adverbs. So it wasn't a good method because, words actually function as a part of speech. They do not belong to a strict category to any of the parts of speech, right? So this is why this also um, tells us, and this also justifies systemic functional linguistics or systemic functional grammar is modern, is more important. It talks about functions. Okay. Now, this is an example. Whenever we'll analyze complete text also. I've already given you a paragraph or a text for analysis. I hope you have done that. If we get time, we'll discuss it. Otherwise, on Monday, definitely, whatever I have given you to read, I've sent you articles also, all the discussion we're going to do when we meet on campus. Anyway, looking here, first of all, whenever you get a text, just look for the clauses because, I told you that analysis starts with the clauses. So, dividing and labeling clauses. Now here, time flies like an arrow. Okay. What is flies here? Time flies like an arrow.
A verb.
It's a verb.
Yeah, it's a verb. Look at the second one. Fruit flies. Fruit flies.
मैम आपने स्क्रीन शेयर की है या मुझे नजर नहीं आ रही
Yeah,
या
it's
मेरे
it's
बुक
it's. Is the screen shared?
नहीं मैम स्क्रीन
Ma'am.
शेयर नहीं
No, ma'am.
Is it visible now?
not yet yes अब आए yes मैम
Yes.
Here. Now time flies like an arrow. First thing first is whenever you get a passage to analyze, you need to divide it into clauses. We analyze in systemic functional linguistics. We analyze a passage clause by clause. Okay, so this is just an example how the function of similar words can change. Time flies like an arrow. Flies here is a verb. Okay. Fruit flies like a banana. What is fruit flies here? Fruit flies. Hey guys. Is this a kind of fly?
It's also one who flies the word here.
You're not properly audible. I mean, you're saying something right, I suppose.
Ma'am, flies is a verb here. Fruit flies like a banana.
No.
I think it's a
Flies is a
meeting.
verb in the first one. Yes, yes, Farah. You can be right, you can be wrong. It's okay.
Ma'am, could it be a noun? Fruit is an
Exactly.
adjective which is
No, no,
telling
no.
which kind
Huh.
of
Yeah.
flies it
Fruit
is.
flies is a kind of fly. Okay. Fruit flies. Maybe those who eat fruits or those who feed on fruits. It's a kind of flies. House flies भी होती हैं जैसे, right? So it's a kind of fly.
Yes.
Here it is a noun. They like a banana. Like here becomes What? They like a banana. It's a
Verb.
verb here. Yeah. Okay. Now look at the third one. Time flies with a stopwatch. Time flies
Ma'am, it's
with a
again
stopwatch.
Again, a
noun
verb.
and verb.
Happens seems like verb. And what is time here?
Noun.
Noun. Yes, it's a noun. And with a stopwatch is, prepositional
मैम
phrase.
ये ब्लर्ड हो जाता है एकदम, पता नहीं या मुझे मेरे साथ हो रहा है या सबके साथ इस तरह हो रहा है स्क्रीन.
You can open your book. I've sent this book to you. Okay, this is Butt's book.
Okay.
The title is here on the page, Using Functional Grammar. Okay, you can open the book on some other gadget if you like to.
Right.
It's page number 22.
You can open it anywhere. Okay. So there are different kinds of verbs. We are going to look at those also. Now, what these examples, through these examples, I just wanted to clarify that words are not restricted to a certain category. It really depends on their position in a sentence, in a clause. Okay. Whenever I say sentence, I mean a clause. Okay. These are very short sentences. So I mean a clause. So it really depends on their position, and position determines their function. Okay. Now, as far as the parts of speech is concerned, verb happens to be the most important one, because actually the verb in a clause or a sentence determines the position of the rest of the words. Okay. So for this reason also, and what might be the other reason that verb is most important. In the rank structure, clause is the most important, and within the clause, verb is the most important. Why? Can there be a clause without a noun?
We can use pronoun instead.
Yeah. Yes, Saida, could you just repeat? I just missed it. What did you say?
Ma'am, you asked, can we make a clause without a noun? So instead of
Yes.
noun, you can use pronoun.
Can we have a clause without a noun and a pronoun?
Uh, no, ma'am. The basic component is
Yes.
the
We cannot.
doer of, doer and the action itself. That makes the clause.
Yes. Yes, Farah, what do you have to say?
मैम clause तो definitely उसका जो formula है form करने का, that is the subject and the predicate. So
How about the imperative ones?
yes, हाँ हाँ ऐसे possible है, क्योंकि हम preposition को भी ला सकते हैं focused position पर, और verb phrase भी आ सकती है focused position पर.
How
That
about the
depends upon the
imperative?
structure.
What is imperative? What are imperative
Imperative में
sentences?
subjects, ये subject हमारा drop होता है ना, we start with a verb.
So the noun is not there, right?
Yes, yes, that is
So
correct.
there is a possibility. What I'm trying
Yes,
to tell
there is.
you is
Yes, okay.
that
Yes, there
the
is.
verb is the most important component within a clause or a sentence, for several
Yes,
reasons, that it is essential. Okay. A clause can exist without a noun or an adjective or an adverb or preposition for that matter, but it cannot have its existence without a verb. One reason. The other reason for the importance of verb is it's the verb that determines the position of the rest of the words around it. Okay. When we talk about um, subject, verb, predicate, object, or any other concept. So it's basically the predicate or the verb that determines where the subject would be. The subject would come before the verb, okay? And the object would come after the verb. So what determines before and after is the verb itself, right? So that is why, verb is the most important component within a clause. And in rank structure, clause happens to be the most important one. Do remember this. Okay. So these are some of the examples where you see the same words, but their position changed, so their function changed, and so is their allocation as far as parts of speech is concerned. Okay, let me check more of your grammar. And it again comes from stylistics that I taught to few of you. What is the difference between finite and non-finite verbs? We have different kinds of verbs, okay? Finite verbs and non-finite ones.
Ma'am,
We do just hold on. We do initial analysis like this, okay? This is at a very rudimentary stage analysis where we have separated all the words and then we give them what are these, okay? Anyway, yes, Farah. Finite and non-finite verbs.
मैम फाइनाइट वर्ब्स जो होते हैं वो टेंस बेस्ड होते हैं ना, जो टेंस वगैरह का बताते हैं, पास्ट प्रेजेंट
और
फ्यूचर.
और non-finite.
एंड नॉन फाइनाइट
Can there? Okay,
जो
let me
टेंस पे
let
नहीं
me
बेस्ड नहीं होते,
let me
टेंस बेस्ड.
put it in other words. Are there any verbs which do not show tense or
मैम
time?
जैसे
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am. मैम टू
मैम
फॉर्म के जो verbs होते हैं, to run, to walk,
इन्फिनेटिव्स जो होते हैं हमारे
infinitives.
और आईएनजी
Exactly.
फॉर्म्स
Right?
जो हैं, लाइक नो वो तो फिर नाउन
Yes.
हो जाएंगे.
Uh, just simplest of the difference between finite and non-finite is of the tense, right? Finite show the tense and they uh, have their past tense also, and they have their present tense also. But non-finites do not show the time. They need, again, they need an auxiliary to show the time. They don't show the time by themselves. Okay. So उसमें आपके आते हैं कौन से वाले? टू
Ma'am,
जिसमें
two.
बेस होता है.
Yes,
हाँ
ma'am.
हाँ, what do we call them? Two with the base. Two plus
Two
base
form
कहते
of
हैं ना.
two form of
इन्फिनेटिव्स
Not
verbs.
infinitive. These are called as infinitives. Okay,
इन्फिनेटिव्स
when you have to attached to the base, to go, to find, okay, to sit, to stand. So this infinitives don't show you the tense, but they take the help in the rest of the clause. You need to find the tense in other ways, but not in the verb themselves. Okay. Base form कहते हैं, it's two plus base form. Base form is your always your present tense, right? But when it gets attached to form infinitives, they don't show you any tense. This is the basic difference between finite and non-finite verbs. There might be other differences also. Okay, tense and aspects we have done, right? I've told you the difference between tense and aspect. Okay. What are regular and irregular verbs?
मैम रेगुलर आपके जो हैं वो विद ईडी सेकंड थर्ड फॉर्म बनती है, और इरेगुलर्स जो हैं दे डू नॉट हैव देयर सेकंड और थर्ड फॉर्म्स विद ईडी, लाइक कट 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 एंड टेक टुक टेकन, लाइक दिस.
Yeah, exactly. This is very, very simple, but we are just revisiting some of our grammatical concepts. So regular verbs are those where the past tense is ends with the ed, and if they have a different past tense other than ed, they are called as irregular verbs, like go and gone. Okay, break, broke, broken, and write, wrote, written. These are irregular ones. Okay. Modality, probability, obligation, ability. This is related to modal verbs. What are modal verbs? Someone other than Farah. Farah is a grammar teacher, and Saida is also grammar. Whoa, wow, we have so many grammar teachers here. So, what is modality or modal verbs?
They show the certain feelings of speakers towards any word. For example, possibility, the obligation, the ability.
Yes, may, can, will, would. All of these are called as modal verbs, and this refers to modality. Modality में probability, where use can, obligation like ought, and abilities can, and probability may. All of these may, might, can, could, will, would. All of these are called as your modal verbs, and this is called as modality. For instance, John must write this today. This is an obligation. Okay. Then you have this table that shows you finite. They have time. That is, they have tense. Probability, obligation, ability, modality ये होती हैं उसमें, and non-finites they have no boundaries of time, probability ये नहीं होता, or they are either complete or they are continuing. Infinitives is the best example. Otherwise, there are more also. This is regular verbs. Okay. We have this base form, and then we have infinitives too. And then we have, this is very basic kind of grammar, but you can still have a look at it. This is progressive. This is past tense. This is past participle. Regular verbs. You can do this on your own. We have discussed this irregular ones also. Did, done. Then we have third person as has. Okay, active passive is very important as far as the functioning is concerned, because there you can reveal the doer or you can hide the doer also. Okay. So this is an example. This is an exercise.
Ma'am, please tell me
let
the
us,
page number. Ma'am, इसका page number कौन सा है?
this is 26 of PDF and 10 of your book. Okay. Is everyone following? Are we on the same page, guys? If anyone is
Ma'am, ये chapter
missing out,
3,
please let us
chapter
know.
3, ma'am. Ma'am, chapter 3 है ये इसमें PDF में.
No,
I don't know
Miss
which chapter
Farah,
is it. I
chapter
think this
2 है.
Chapter 1, Farah.
I think this is
Yes,
chapter 1. Chapter 2 we'll do
It's chapter
context
1.
later on. Quickly, guys.
Okay.
Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Now, active passive, whatever we have done in grammar is important as far as SFL is concerned, but active passive are very, very important. We already know how to convert those actives to passives and passives to active. The important difference is about the subject, the doer of the action. Now, when the subject is there, we call it active, and when the subject is not there, we call it as, passive. To find out whether the subject of each clause in table 1.4 is the doer or the done to of the action, first find the verbal group, then find the subject by asking who or what. For each subject, decide if it is the doer or the done to of the action or saying or feeling in the clause. Finally, label these clauses as either active or passive. Okay, so you have to see the doer also or something that is done. So that would determine whether it's an active voice or a passive voice. This is very, very easy. We are not going to waste time on this, but we'll discuss it in Monday's class. We will see how this is done. The football was kicked over the fence.
Passive.
This is passive, right? So similarly, you can do this, but you just don't have to determine whether it's an active voice or passive voice, but you have to find the doer or something that is done to someone. For instance, this is passive because, uh, the football was kicked over the fence. The sub doer is missing here. Okay. This is the football is something that work is done on that. That is why we call it as passive. The doer is not here. We discussed the reasons why the doer might be absent and this is very to media discourses that we are going to analyze. Okay, now this is again important in the sense that here, transitive, from transitive, actually, whatever we are going to do is called as transitivity. Transitivity is an important concept of systemic functional linguistics, and this transitivity comes from transitive verbs. The concept of transitive adjective. So, who's sharing about transitive and intransitive verbs?
When transitive means to pass over, which needs objects for the completion of that
Mm-hmm.
idea, and intransitive they do not need. Like I eat what, so what is important? I read what, but I smile what, that is not important. I love what. तो ये intransitive होते हैं जहाँ पर objects की आपको जरूरत नहीं होती, they themselves cover up their meanings.
This is true. Anyone else? Yes, Saida. What are transitive and intransitive?
Ma'am, transitive verbs are the ones which give a complete meaning by itself, whereas intransitive verbs are the ones which do not give a complete meaning. Let's take the example of the word cry. He cried, so it already gives a complete meaning. It no more needs any object, whereas the intransitive verbs do not give a complete meaning. They need an object as well. Did I name it in opposite?
Yes, this is right. No, first. Now, from here comes, transitivity and systemic functional linguistics, transitive and intransitive. People, though, okay, all those people, because these are like grammar teachers, that is why they are very active in the class today. But rest of you, do not feel depressed. Just go back to your grammar days and learn about these. Okay, learn about the examples. Also, I've not gone into complexities of this right now, but we are just revisiting the basic concepts in grammar. Okay, these would help you later on in the right. Also read about the direct object and the indirect object. That is also part of transitive verbs, right? Transitive verbs, they show an action where the action is done directly on an object. So there are direct objects also, and there are indirect objects also. People who have attended a course of grammar and syntax will have a better idea of these concepts. Okay. Now, another word that we came across was verb groups, nominal groups, and verb groups. Okay. Now, what do we mean by those groups? When a verb has consists of more than one word, there be verbs that consist of more than one word, or can there be subjects are basically nouns? Can there be subjects with more than one word? Can there be predicates, which are verbs usually more than one word? Can a verb be expressed in more than one word?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's put
It
it
can
this
be.
way.
Yes, it can be.
Okay,
Like अगर आप
anyone else?
Ali,
Okay, okay, Farah, just hold on. Anyone else? I've just simplified a question. Okay, think of sentences. My question is, can a subject be expressed in more than one word? Yeah, that is, the noun phrase. Can the verb phrase consist of more than one word?
Yes, ma'am, when there's helping verb with a verb, like she is studying. There are two words in the sentence: is and studying. Both are
Okay,
verbs. Both act as verbs.
okay,
They have finished their work. Haven't finished.
right. Now, this is called as the verb group. Okay, we came across a term here, and this we are going to analyze clauses through the groups. Noun groups are called as the nominal groups, and then we have verb analyze. Okay, so a verb phrase in traditional grammar we call these as verb phrase, or the noun phrase. The subject happens to be a noun phrase. It can be a word or it can be more than words. Okay, noun phrases कितने slots होते हैं noun phrase के? Yes, Manal. How many slots in a noun phrase?
3
Where we
slots
have a
होते
head noun.
Ma'am, three slots होते हैं. First
No.
one is of the auxiliary, and auxiliary with होता है.
नहीं noun phrase की बात करें.
Noun or adjective phrase, 2 slots होते हैं.
कितने slots होते हैं noun phrase में? How many slots? Yes, Fatma, how
Determiner
many
होता है.
slots in the
The
noun
noun
phrase?
and
Adjective and noun.
adjective and noun.
Adjective optional होता है हमारे पास. Determiner जो है and noun. Adjective is optional.
Yes, Fatma. How many slots in a noun phrase? And
Ma'am,
which slots do we have?
Ma'am, I just got back.
head
My net was
noun?
disconnected. I just joined the class again.
No,
मेरा net चला गया था.
It's okay, but I have not taught them the noun phrase.
मैंने सवाल ही सुना. I just heard you asking.
Actually,
जिस मैंने नाम सुना है. Ma'am, noun slots कितने होते हैं in a sentence or in a clause? Net is going again.
Determiner है adjective और noun.
Ma'am,
Basically, ma'am, 2 slots ही होते हैं noun and noun phrase के, noun and adjective.
Miss
जो basic
subject,
slots हैं.
object, direct
Beta,
object,
noun-
indirect object.
No. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
मैं बताऊं?
Okay. नहीं, आप नहीं बताएं. Guys, I'm not asking about, number of words in a clause or essential कर लिया area में clause हो जाती है. We're talking about, groups now. And in groups, I'm talking about the noun phrase. Noun phrase में कितने slots होते हैं? Farah, if you want to say 3 slots, that's incorrect. Yes, Minal, कितने slots होते हैं noun phrase में?
Ma'am, basically 2 slots होते हैं, adjective and the noun phrase.
My God, adjective क्यों होगा
Ma'am,
उसमें?
preposition, ma'am, pronoun होता है उसमें. Noun, pronoun मेरे ख्याल से. Noun की जगह pronoun.
Okay, yes, Farah, how many slots?
मैं जो noun phrase कह रही हूँ वो slots जो मेरे समझ में आप मतलब अगर आप पूछना चाह रही हैं तो वो आपका determiner है adjective और noun. जैसे noun phrase बनता है मिलके आप इस slots में पूछ रही हैं question.
Yeah,
Articles आते हैं ना जैसे determiner है
has 4
and then we
slots.
have adjectives. 4
Yeah.
slots.
First,
Determiner है
there
जैसे
are 4 slots in a noun phrase, but the head, just listen,
okay.
lies on the third slot. Okay, the absence of any of the slots do not change the position of the head noun. Head noun is slot 3. Whether first slot is present or not, second slot, all of the slots are optional. First slot is that of the auxiliary, that of the determiners and articles. Okay, determiners can be articles also, and they can be enumerators as well. The second one is adjective within the noun phrase. Okay, the third one is the noun, and the fourth one is the post modifier, which can be again adjective. Okay, so the second slot is the pre-modifier. First is the modifier, third is the head noun, and fourth is the post modifier. All the other slots are optional except for the third one where we have the head noun. Okay, do you get it now?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, miss.
Do you understand? Okay, right.
Yes.
So, similar case, what I'm trying to, clarify is that just a word or more than words, more than one word can form nominal group, and similarly, we can have more than one word in the verbal group also. Okay, like we call these phrases in traditional grammar, right? Did you get it? So, what I would like you to do later on is to give this transitive or an intransitive verb these are directly related to systemic functional linguistics. Okay, so these are the verbal groups that I was talking about. Now, the term verbal group describe all the separate verbs in any clause. It therefore relates to the verbal group. The whole verbal group and nothing but the verbal group is the term verbal group. In the following clauses, we join the verbal group the separate. I'm okay. My call gets on a hold, so I thought I'm not audible, right? Whatever you're in traditional grammar, you have a word phrase. Vocabulary, we call this as the main verb, right? जैसे noun phrase में we have head noun. In verbal verb phrases, we have the main verb, and there we have the head noun. Okay, these are just the terms that you need to learn. ये रजिस्टर हैं SFL के जो आपको आने चाहिए, ठीक है? ये टेक्निकल टर्म्स हैं, ये जार्गन्स हैं इसके. You need to know these. इसको हम कहते हैं verbal group, right? Now, Henry had timed flies with his stopwatch for many years. Could someone, tell me why is had timed is a verb here? What has Henry done with the flies? Has he done with the flies?
Could it give the meaning of preserving, like he has preserved the flies, or he is?
Uh-huh. All that's really your understanding. You might be right, okay? Maybe it gives a sense that he has trained the flies through his stopwatch, or he has noticed their activities through the stopwatch, like that. That is because he has done something. This is why this is a verb, and there are two parts of it, two verbs, so this forms a verbal group, right? So, uh, now again, a verbal group does not necessarily consist of just these two words. It can have more than two words. Another example, Henry might have been timing flies with his stopwatch. One, two, three, four. Four verbs form a verbal group. Okay. The concept here is that a verbal group can consist from two words to many words. Okay. Similar is the case with the nominal group also. It can have two words to more words, right? So might have been timing flies with his stopwatch. Flies here is a noun. Here also it's a noun. And this is the verbal group. Henry was inexplicably timing flies, right? This is a split group. Verbal group as a split group, and here you, while you would be analyzing it, you mark it as a split with a dash at both ends. Okay. Henry was inexplicably timing flies divided by an adverb here and here and here. So if uh, delete this, Henry was timing flies. So the verbal group can be one, but this is again a verbal group. Verbal group exists, but in a split form. Now, interrogative form, did Henry really time flies? There are two verbs and these are split. Okay. And how do you show the split verbs? This is these with the dash. Okay. Now, identifying uh, the verbal group. These are the steps through which you can identify the verbal groups. Now, test yourself with the clauses below. I hope everyone is following. We are on page number 29 of the PDF and 13 of this. So one of the exercises, active passive, finding out why do you call a clause as active or why do you consider it passive. That is activity one, which you will be completing. It's very, very simple. The other one is you have to do this. Test yourself with clauses below. Underline all the verbs. Draw the boxes. Verbal groups तलाश करें. And draw an arrow from the verb to its subject, if this is a split. Okay. What can Martha have been thinking? Jane might have been going to eat her sandwiches. Has your garden been watered lately? For instance, the verbal group is split here. Has been watered. Has been watered. Three words. Okay. So you're going to do it on your own. Um, these are the two exercises that you have to do. And whatever we have, whatever I gave you last time also, there was a practice passage, there was a research article. Um, we might not get time online to do that, but you have to do it anyway. Okay. Other classes of words. Those are the rest of the parts of speech that we have not touched. For instance, adjective, you can do it here from here or you can do it from anywhere. Okay, you need to clarify your concepts. Just revisit those. I know you know about the conjunctions also and the prepositions also, all of that, right? So this is how we do analysis of clauses. You find out the verbs and the rest of it you can do that, right? First of all, how do you analyze a clause? Just find out the verbs. The rest of the things um, are adjusted on their own. Okay. From words to group and phrases. Phrases means the verbal groups and the nominal groups, all of that. Please do it on your own. This is easy, okay? The whole of it, for instance, time flies like an arrow. Okay, this is the nominal group, one one word. Verbal group, one word. Like an arrow is traditionally it's a prepositional phrase, but here this is a preposition and this is a nominal group. Okay, so we have studied only two groups, nominal groups and the verbal groups. Um, Apply whatever knowledge you're getting every day, apply on the same passage as practice one. There were some questions also at the end of that passage. Try to answer those, but you can also use the passage for clause analysis like this. Okay, just to practice verbal nominal groups and other ones. You will be using these abbreviations. You need to know these abbreviations for your analysis. This is nominal group. Okay, this is verbal group. And this is adverbial group. This is conjunction group, preposition, and this is a preposition group with a nominal group. This is prepositional phrase basically with a nominal group. जैसे हमने ऊपर देखी थी. A preposition phrase consists of a preposition and a nominal group. So please try to learn these abbreviations because these are the technical ones. They will reflect your knowledge about SLF. Experiential analysis in detail in chapter number 3, but before that, we are going to do something else. All of this, whatever sentences we have done, they have done the analysis for the verbal group and the nominal group. Please look at this. Okay. Now we are moving to chapter 2 very, very quickly. I hope it is clear. Any questions related to chapter 1 and how do you begin the analysis? We are just beginning the analysis, systemic functional linguistics.
No, ma'am, everything is clear.
Clear.
Is it clear, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And try
Yes,
to
ma'am.
apply this on the. Okay. Okay, fine. Words else. Let me. Just hold on for a while. Okay, so let's move towards the context, and we have it had an introduction in the first class, right? So Halliday defined. We saw the definition by Halliday of text. Now we are looking at what are the technical words that are used by Butt to define text. Now we already know that everything is counted as text, whether spoken or written, long or short, whatever it is. It should have a context. It should be coherent, harmonious. It should have a purpose because without a purpose, there is no existence of text. Halliday has said the same. Halliday used different terms as the constituents of text, but has used these two terms, texture and structure. Okay. Now, in order to understand in simple words what is the texture and what is the structure, we need to talk about the cohesion and coherence again. So, who is telling us what is cohesion and what is coherence? Yes,
Ma'am,
guys.
cohesion is about the grammatical elements, the organization of words, the structures. That's all about. And coherence is about the harmony in ideas, how the ideas they penetrate from one to another. How
Okay,
beautifully we
that's
organize
nice.
the
Now,
ideas.
Okay. Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Now read texture and structure from the screen and tell me which one is cohesion and which one is coherence. और हेलिडे ने भी तो दो वर्ड्स यूज किए थे. What were those?
मैम स्ट्रक्चर जो है वो कोहेजन होगा और टेक्सचर जो है दैट इज द कोहेरेंस.
फरा बेटा दूसरे बच्चों को भी अपॉर्चुनिटी दे दिया करो. Yes, Menar.
The texture is coherence, how ideas meanings are connected, and structure is the linkage of grammatical items, stages it moves through. Structure is actually for cohesion.
And texture is
And texture is coherence.
okay. How many of
The
you
linkage-
agree to what Minal has said? You know, I stop her and then eventually I have to go to her because you're not talking and you're not answering. Yes, Fatma.
Ma'am, I do agree. I cannot hear Minal, so I just know she was talking about coherence and cohesion according to text and structure. What I can tell you from what my understanding is that cohesion and cohesion and structure are the same thing because they both talk about the grammar and organization of a text, where cohesion and coherence and texture talks about the meaning.
Okay. Yes, you're right. Yes, yes, Farah. Do you want to say something now?
Yes, ma'am. The same as Fatma said, the structure is all about the grammatical structures, the organization of words, how the words they are or structures they are found in a passage, and texture is all about the meanings, how the ideas they go
Yes.
from one flow to another.
Yeah. And what words did Halliday use for cohesion and coherence? Did he use any other words?
Artifact and specimen.
Yeah, right. So, the definition of text is almost similar, that text needs to have a purpose, and anything is spoken or written is a text. Can the text be of just one word?
Yes.
Yes, can be.
Like,
Stop, like the word stop implied some kind of meaning.
Run, play, study, set, anything.
even smaller than this?
Maybe my
Can an
expressions
can can an alphabet also uh, be considered as text, as small as just an alphabet?
Mhm. Mhm.
What are interjunctions?
interjection. Yes, interjections. Right.
What are those?
मैम वो आपकी सडन एक्सप्रेशंस होते हैं जो express their joy, feelings, excitement.
Exactly. Now the sudden expressions, yeah, they don't have maybe some of the expressions which are very sudden, they are not part of the dictionary even, but they are just sounds. Okay, and those sounds are also considered as text because they are meaningful, they have a purpose, and they have a context. Okay. And two important concepts about the text, what Bhatt has told, and we have enough discussion, and this is clear also to you. One is texture and structure. Text will have a structure and a text texture, structure and texture. Okay. Done these two concepts, every text sits inside two contexts. Okay. First is the culture context, right? Yes, who is giving me an example of two culture contexts?
मैम कल्चरल कॉन्टेक्स्ट से डिफरेंट हो सकता है अगर हम एक चीज डेफिनेटली फ्रॉम किसी हाई फाई शॉप से लेने जाएं या किसी सुपरमार्केट से तो वहां पर हमारा डिफरेंट होगा डेफिनेटली बार्गेनिंग का वही और एक चीज अगर हम किसी और मीन्स अपने एरिया से ले रहे हैं अपने इलाके से या अपने सिटी से या अपने मुल्क से और एक किसी और जगह पर जाकर जब हम बार्गेनिंग करेंगे दैट वुड बी डिफरेंट व्हाट आई थिंक
Okay. Um, okay, let's broaden this. Let's talk about cross culture, two different cultures. Okay, let's even make it broader. Eastern culture and Western culture. Can I have an example from there?
Miss the use of brother. If you think about it, we have a lot of different. We call everyone brother, bhaiya, bhai. We say that, but in Western, you don't say that. Because except your own brother, nobody is brother. Also, the word of cousin, sister, a cousin, brother, it's cousin in Western culture. It's just cousin.
Okay. Okay, that's
ये
that's
हमने एक और
that's
एग्जांपल भी की थी एक्सक्यूज मी वाली जैसे यहाँ पर हम एक्सक्यूज मी को डिफरेंट उस सेंस में ले सकते हैं टू गेट अ साइड और टू गेट अवे और एक्सक्यूज के लिए भी लेकिन वेस्टर्न में हम सिर्फ एक्सक्यूज मी को जस्ट फॉर अपॉलजी लेते हैं टू गेट एन अपॉलजी
वो आपका सिचुएशन का कॉन्टेक्स्ट है. कल्चर
अच्छा
कॉन्टेक्स्ट, द सिंपलेस्ट ऑफ द एग्जांपल इज दैट ऑफ greetings. Okay, because we all share the same values, and it is about the way of doing things. How do you greet when we meet each other? How do we greet? This is a culture context, because we share the same ways of doing things, and we share the same knowledge and the values. Okay, but the greetings in the Western countries is different, right? So greeting,
राइट
how do you attend people's funerals? How do you attend people's marriage? What do you say? How do you communicate at that time? These are the different culture contexts. Okay, they vary, right?
राइट
Now
मैम
Yes, ma'am.
they differ from one culture to another, but the context of situation might be similar in similar situations. Okay, the immediate circumstances around the text, right? So those can be a little similar, but the culture context varies from one culture to another, whereas situational context changes from one situation to another situation. Okay, who is involved, what is happening, um, how the language is being delivered. Um, it is about the people that you are interacting with. How do you talk to your class fellows, your teachers, whether you are in the classrooms, whether you're sitting at home, you're attending a party. This is the immediate happenings in the background. And what is counted as context? We already discussed it in the previous class. Context is a very broad term, and it has many things within it. Okay. This we did it under what concept did we study this field, tenure, and mode? Do you remember, guys? Was it register or genre?
Ma'am, it's register.
Exactly. These are parts of the register. Okay. Um, what is a field is what is being talked about, the topic. Okay. Tenor is who is taking part, relationship between speaker and writer, listener, readers, whatever. Mode is whether it is written or this is spoken. Okay. Now, some of the examples. This is the text. Formal letter to the employer. Who's involved? The employer and the employee, and they have formal relation which is unequal. Okay, one is the boss, the other is the subordinate, and this is written. Mode is written, and it is planned, and it is one way. Then your letter to the friend, you have equal standing. You're informal. This is written, and you plan it, and this can be two-way also, this can be one-way as well. Conversation, this is about spontaneous two-way spoken and with close friends equal, and this is two people talking together. Now, in the beginning of the lecture, we talked about the meta functions. Now, where do you find these meta functions and how do you analyze them? This is the center of systemic functional linguistics, okay? Because every clause does three jobs at once, okay? Ideational represents the experience, उसको हम कहते हैं experiential function, and the third chapter is dedicated to how do you analyze experiential functions, okay? Uh, the whole chapter is on single function of the language. It is a little complex also, the third chapter, and but very interesting, forms the foundation, okay? Still, we have not properly begun the analysis through systemic functional grammar. It actually starts with experiential functions that we are going to do in the third chapter and in more details, where we are going to talk about the processes also. Within experiential or ideational function, there are so many, I think there are 5 to 6 processes that we need to uh, decipher and analyze, and we have to allocate verbs in those 6 processes. See, a verb can function in 5 to 6 different ways in a clause. Anyway, moving on to interpersonal, we have already talked about, it refers to interaction. How are people interacting and what is happening, whether they are stating something, asking, offering, commanding, expressing attitudes or judgment. Textual is organizing both of these into a coherent whole, coherent flowing message, spoken or written. This is textual function. Okay, this is a combination. Textual function is basically a combination of ideational and interpersonal function, right? Now, levels of language. Uh, this is the context. Okay, just keep it separate for the time being. Okay, but here we have semantics and we have lexicogrammar and we have expressions. Expressions has sounds, phonology, letters, graphology, and gestures, pragmatics. Okay, so expression is very, very rich. Now, meta language, this is a specialized language. This is one of the ways of analyzing the language. We are going to do that in detail. Now, register and genre we have already done. Today we are going to do examples from the genre, and those are very, very interesting, right? So here people share the same situation or the context. For instance, doctors, lawyers, linguists, teachers, all of that, right? So they have some specialized vocabulary. Texts that share the same context of situation, share similar meanings and word patterns, right? It's about the profession also, and it's about certain topics also. Genre, texts that share the same overall social purpose, share the same underlying structure. Genre का structure एक होता है, ठीक है, और register की situation एक होती है. Just remember this, okay? Genre, you have poetry, you have drama, you have narratives, you have storytelling, you have dramas, you have other genre. This is genre because they have the same structure. Poetry will have the same structure. Every poetry will have stanzas, irrespective of its even language also. Okay, it will have stanzas. Then there are subgenres also. There is epic, and there is what other subgenres do you have of poetry? You have sonnets, okay. you have ballads. All of them are subgenres, but all of those will never have prose in it. Prose is a separate genre, right? Poetry will not have dialogues because it is different from dramas. Dramas, all the dramas or all the plays will have dialogues because that structural pattern. This is how we differentiate between the register and the genre. Okay. There is an example of advertisement. If there is an advertisement of breakfast cereals, they will have similar field. The topic would be similar, tenor would be similar, mode can be different, written or spoken. As far as the ad is concerned, it can be on in the print media also, it can be on the social media also, depending on the media, but the content, the language would be similar. Okay, the word semantic field would be similar. Breakfast cereal, what would the ads tell you? That these cereals are healthy, these are quick to make. Okay, and you can add other things, fruits also within the cereal, so they share the semantic field, they share the same contextual situation. Okay, or the situational context, right? I hope these topics are uh, clear, and today we are going to look at some of the examples of genre. Now, broadly speaking, there are three kinds of genre which functions in three ways. Okay, there are three functions of genre, and there are several genres within those functions. So uh, the different genre perform the functions of entertainment, information, and persuasion. So there are two genres that come in entertainment, either recount or narratives. Recounting is, something has happened and you are telling someone else about it. Okay, so and narratives are usually, sometimes they can be fiction also. This is basically stories that you tell. In information is certain procedures. For instance, you are telling someone the recipe or you're reading the recipe. That's a genre of procedure. Information reports, like you find in the newspaper also, they are informing you something, or explaining a concept. For instance, right now, our genre is lecture, and it serves the purpose of information transfer. I'm explaining you certain concepts. Okay. Then persuasion or persuade. There are two genres within this. One is exposition, the other is discussion. Okay. What might be the difference between exposition and discussion? Exposition and discussion. Anyone who has been a debater might tell us the difference between exposition and discussion. Yes, Saida.
No, ma'am, I really have no idea. Um,
Any
discuss
guesses?
discuss
Yes,
maybe we simply just discuss some problem or some issue. Just we share our idea related to some terms.
Mhm.
Exposition, I don't know, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Beta.
Exposition is basically when you choose a topic and you persuade the audience or the people to from that point of view. And discussion where you explore and discuss different ideas, multiple perspectives,
Okay.
or even
Yeah. In exposition, you take sides. Okay. Um, like you argue about and you take side when there are, controversial issues. You take one side. But in discussion, you discuss both the things, the pros and cons of anything. uh, Discussion is rather open. Exposition is a little narrower. Okay, we'll have examples, and Butt has taken example from the writing of the children. I think we can read it from the book also. Okay, now what is recount and narrative? It tells you the sequence of event in order and evaluate them. Narrative tells you the story around a problem with an outcome that entertains. The genre that serves the purpose of entertainment is the recount and the narrative, right? These are the steps. How do you write a narrative and a recount? Orientation. Then you record the event in time and order. Reorientation, round of personal comments, right? And then there is in narrative you have a complication, and then you have a resolution, and then you have a final comment. Okay. There is an example. We'll read about the kids writing also, but there is an example. Last Saturday, our class visited the Science Museum. First, we explored the space exhibit. Then we watched a robotic demo. It was a great day. So this is recounting. You visited a place and then you are telling or writing about it. What is the narrative? That's kind of a story. Maya loved hiking, but one afternoon the trail market disappeared in the fog. Using the compass, she found her way back to the sunset. You know, there's a problem and then there is a solution also. There is some curiosity in the narratives, but in the recount, it's just telling your experience. Okay. Procedure and information report. Both serve the purpose of informing. Procedure is, what is the goal, or what is the material you would need, and what are the steps. Okay. For instance, how to plant a seedling. You will need a pot. Then you will need some soil also, and then what you would do. Information report, general statement, and then you describe. Volcanoes are openings in the earth. This is an information report. Earth's crust. Active volcanoes can erupt, while dormant volcanoes have not erupted recently but may do so again. This is information about the volcanoes. And both of these are real. Procedures भी real होते हैं, and information reports are also real. They are not fiction, but narrative can be a fiction. Okay. Recount sometimes can be a fiction. Okay, moving on to explanation, exposition. Explanation, I've given you the example. For explanation, I've given you the example. This is whatever we are doing now is explanation. Okay, identifying and this telling you the phenomena. Many things can be explained. Exposition, statement of position, writer's stance, argument, supported by evidence, reinforcement, reinstate the position. Okay, so the writer in exposition takes a position. A school should start later in the morning. Research shows teenagers need more sleep, and later starts improve concentration. For these reasons, schools should shift their time, right? So he is of the opinion that schools should start late, and he does not talk about school starting earlier. He takes a position on this. Okay. Discussion is the issue. Argument for one perspective, argument against another perspective. Then you discuss it, and then you come with a recommendation, and you give a judgment. So this is the difference between exposition, where you take one side, and discussion is a broader part. Okay. This is an activity, classroom activity. I have given you a short passage, and from there, practice passage, you can take out field, tenure, mode, evidence, and these are the stages also. You can apply the same on the same passage. Read, find the purpose, find the stages, right? And we can compare that. This is also. So today we have done this. What is a text? Field, tenures क्या होते हैं? What are the language functions? Ideational, interpersonal, and textual. Context, meaning, wording, sounds. meta language, register, and genre. Now, I would like you to take out your books, okay, the same books, and we are going to look at more examples from, let me share the book, okay. We are going to look at more examples of the kinds of genre from the writing of the kids. You may take out your books and I'll tell you the page number also. Guys, we are done with the second chapter as well. Please read this one in detail. I got. So here, let me share the screen. Okay. Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Uh, this table would tell you, this table would clarify the concepts of linguistic levels. For instance, ये extra linguistic means outside, context is outside, ठीक है? Culture is outside the language and situation is outside the language, but you use them within the context. Okay. Uh, this is semantics. Expressions, may you have phonology systems, sound systems. You have gestures, graphology. Graphology refers to writing. This is whatever is visible to you is a part of graphology. Like this bracket is a part of graphology. The font that is taken is graphology. If it is written in capital letter, that is graphology. Okay, the color is a part of graphology. So graphology gives you a lot of meaning, right? And this is one of the lower levels of language, but it is there. Then you have lexicogrammar, words, and system of signing, grammar, and lexis words here. Then you have semantics. Semantics is meaning, all right? So these are the different levels of language. Pragmatics happens to be the high level. It lies above semantics, okay? And this is also kind of part of extra linguistics also because pragmatics give you meaning beyond the use of language. When something is not said directly, but it is inferred, that is pragmatic. So this is also lies somewhere here. Okay, other than that, we want to do genre. Okay, look here. Nabat has, he has collected some examples from the kids' writing. Now, this is Catlin's spoken text. The purpose of a recount is to tell what happened by recounting a sequence of events. So, the basic characteristic of a recount is the sequence. The events are presented in a sequence. Okay. There's a girl in the class. She tried to do a backward roll and she like her neck clicked something and she was taken to the hospital in ambulance. This is the mode is the spoken text. And I had to write down what happened because I was in her group. This is reorientation in coda. I've done that before and it does not hurt that much. I think she's overacting just a bit. Now, narrative. Here also in narrative, we have sequence. Then we have unexpected event because narrative can be a fiction also, but the purpose remains entertainment. A long time ago, there lived a family, not just an ordinary family, but the happiest family in the street because it was Christmas Eve. It tells you about who's being talked about. Then there's a complication. That night we heard a bang. It was Santa and his reindeer. He gave us some presents. In the morning we had our breakfast and then we opened the presents, right? But it was okay because there was another tree and we found Nelly's presents under that tree out the front. She was happy then. So you have to conclude this also. Similar is the example with the procedure, how to catch a wave. Then what material do you need and what might be the steps to do this? Information report, mist and fog. Okay. Explanation, sequence of the same phenomena. Like clouds, fog is formed from moisture in the air. So it's about explaining this. Exposition, cars should be banned in the city. He takes the side that cars should be banned in the city. Cars create pollution and cause a lot of road deaths, other accidents. Now, he's going to give the arguments and the supportive arguments. Okay. Read it on your own. This is, we have already done one example from the presentation. Another one is this one. Now, discussion is homework. I think we should have homework because it helps us to learn and revise our work. Argument for, argument against, because this is a discussion, right? In exposition, you take one side. So you can use the knowledge that you have acquired today and apply all of that to the practice passage that I have given you. Okay, so is genre clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the kind of genre and the purpose of genre. And then you need to revisit the traditional grammar also. Then we did clause and how do you start analyzing clause by dividing it into the nominal groups and the verbal groups. What are the abbreviations that you use while you're analyzing these? Um, please learn those and try to apply those on the passage that I have given you, right? Now my lecture time has ended, but your class would go on in the sense that you're going to give this reading again and then practice the same on the practice passage that I have, sent you through Fatma. I hope everyone has that practice passage.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just take out that practice passage and dare you not leave the class, please. Stay in the class. I mean, stay wherever you have allocated your class at your home. Stay there, take out the passage, analyze clause by clause, look at the genre also, and see what is the passage about, what purpose does it serve. Okay, and whatever knowledge you have acquired in these two classes, try to apply all of that. Most importantly, you need to analyze it clause by clause. So it would be a grammatical analysis as well as analysis of the register and the genre. So do everything on that single passage. um, let me stop this recording, and then I'll tell you what we are going to do on Monday. Okay, so on Monday